One of the hardest decisions a leader ever makes is not accepting a new role. It's knowing when it's time to leave the current one. From the outside, everything may still look successful. You may have the title, the compensation, the responsibilities that come with it, but internally, the role that once challenged you now drains you. The role that once excited you now feels heavier than it should. And many leaders stay far longer than they need to. Not because they are happy, but because they are afraid of what comes next. Today, I want to talk about 6 clear signs that it may be time to step down from your current leadership role and how to recognize the difference between a difficult season and genuine misalignment. Before I go in, a quick question. Have you ever stayed in a role longer than you knew you should have? Tell me in the comments. I am curious. I do believe and think many of us have. Well, let me just say this. Every role has difficult periods. Every leader experiences frustration. Every career has seasons where motivation fluctuates. That's normal. What I'm talking about today is something deeper. Not temporary fatigue, not a difficult quarter, but the signs that the role itself may no longer be aligned with who you are becoming. So here are the signs. Sign number one, you have stopped growing. One of the clearest signs is that you are still performing, but you are no longer growing. At least you are not feeling that you are growing. The work feels familiar, the challenges feel predictable, the learning curve has flattened. I remember coaching a senior executive who told me, I'm good at this role, maybe too good. That sentence stayed with me because competence can sometimes become comfortable and comfort can quietly become stagnation. Ask yourself, when was the last time your role stretched you in a meaningful way? Sign number two, your energy is consistently declining. Leadership naturally requires energy, not just physical energy, emotional energy, mental energy, relational energy. And while every role has demanding periods, pay attention when exhaustion becomes your normal state. I once worked with a leader who said, nothing is wrong, I'm just tired all the time. That wasn't a workload problem, it was an alignment problem. Because the wrong role often drains energy faster than hard work does. Sign number three, you are leading from obligation instead of purpose. This one is subtle. You still show up, you still perform, you still do what's expected, but the internal motivation has changed. You are no longer leading because you are energized by the work. You are leading because it's what you have always done. And over time, obligation creates a very different experience from purpose. One sustains you, the other slowly depletes you. Sign number four, you have outgrown the environment. Sometimes the issue isn't the role, it's the environment around it. Your values have evolved, your aspirations have changed, your definition of success is different from what it was earlier. But the organization hasn't changed. I've seen leaders spend years trying to make an environment fit a version of themselves that no longer exists. Growth sometimes requires a different ecosystem. Sign number five, you are becoming someone you don't like. This is perhaps the most important sign because leadership should challenge you, but it should not repeatedly pull you away from your values. Pay attention if you find yourself becoming more cynical, more reactive, more disconnected, more frustrated. Not occasionally, consistently. Sometimes the role is no longer bringing out your best leadership, and that's worth paying attention to. Sign number 6, you stay mainly because you are afraid to leave. I have gone through this personally at one stage in my corporate career. So I know this is the hardest one and often the most honest one. If the primary reason you are staying is the title, the certainty, the fear of starting over, or the fear of disappointing people, then it's worth reflecting deeply. Because fear is a poor long term career strategy. The best career decisions aren't usually driven by comfort, they are driven by alignment. I've coached leaders through some significant career transitions over the years. And one thing I've noticed is this: the decision to leave rarely happens suddenly. Most people know much earlier than they admit. They feel it. They just keep hoping the feeling will disappear. And sometimes it does. And sometimes it's trying to tell you something important. Pay heed to this. If this conversation resonated with you, I want you to start with awareness. Take my free leadership blind spots assessment. It helps leaders identify patterns that may be affecting their growth, effectiveness, and career decisions. Because sometimes what keeps us stuck isn't capability, it's the blind spots we haven't recognized yet. The link is in the description. Stepping down is not failure. Sometimes it's leadership. Because the goal is not to hold on to a role forever. The goal is to keep growing into the person you are capable of becoming. If you like this video, drop in a comment and share this video in your network. That was all for today. I'll see you the next time.